Hi all, in this video I'll show you a thing or two about first of all the data formats within NoCode-X. Secondly, I'll show you how to create data for your built-in database. So yeah, first data formats. Data formats within NoCode-X are the contract which your data has to comply to. So for example, if I have a data format soccer team, I say this soccer team or data soccer teams always have a name and an amount of players and a location. All the data that is of type soccer team will have to have those attributes within them. So data formats can be used for the built-in database in NoCode-X, but it is not necessarily that's not necessarily its sole purpose. So you can use data formats for fetching data from an API. You can use data formats for fetching data from another database. You can even use data formats for communicating between different pieces of logic. So data formats really make it easy for you to reason with data within the logic. So that's really its purpose. So let's dive in. Let's create a data format. So you can hit the button on the side navigation or use the fast key Alt F to create a data to enter the overview of data formats. If you have no data formats, as in my case, you'll see this screen, and then you can just hit create or just hit create new data format. And then you get the choice, do you want to create a new data format from scratch, or do you want to create one from text where you describe the data format in text-wise and natural language? But let's just do it from text, from scratch to keep it simple. Let's say we want to create a data format soccer team. You create it and then you enter the data format edit screen. Um, what I can do here is add a description, add some tags, add an icon for this data format. For example, I can add a cup icon for this soccer team, and then I can start adding some properties to it. So what I can say is, okay, a soccer team has a team name, and this team name is of type string. So that's a text type. Voila, and then I can add some additional information to that attribute as well, or to that property as well. So I can add a description. I can say, okay, it should have a minimum length of so much characters. It should have a maximum length of so many characters, and so on. I can define a pattern. I can say if it's an enum or not, or I can define some enum values. More on that later, and then I can have a data classification for each attribute of my data format, which I'll explain in further videos as well. You can also add another property, which is amount of players, for example, and I can say, okay, this property is actually of type number, and then this piece of data can only have two attributes, a text attribute, team name, and a number attribute, amount of players. So I can also have some couple some actions to a data format, which is actually used when you're using your data format for the built-in database. So for example, here, every action that I attach to this part of your data format after creation of data will be executed once you insert a new record of data of this data format type in your built-in database. So you can really do really cool stuff with this. You also have an after update of data and an after removal of data trigger to attach logic to. So yeah, that's my data format. Now, of course, I want to create a piece of data in my database based on that data format. So creating data is possible in many different ways. You can create data by building an API, for example. You can create data by by building a page that allows you to create data. You can read a file and create data based on that, and so on and so on. But just for this video, I'll create a piece of data straight from the back office right here. So what you do again, you hit the button in the side navigation, hit create, and you get the question: do you want to create data from scratch, or do you want to create some test data which we generate for you based on your data format? So in this case, I want to create a piece of data from scratch. I'll show the other functionalities in other videos, but I'll just create soccer team 1 here, and I'll select my data format, which I just created, and then I have to select my environment for which I want to create the data. So in this case, I want to create data for my development environment. I do not want to create data from a production environment, for example. So I choose development here, and then I can start adding actual data to my data. So we can say, okay, the team name is soccer team 1, and the amount of players is 24. Voila, and then I can save this, and this is stored in my database. So I can now start reasoning with this data in my logic. And as you can see, every piece of data has its own ID, so I don't have to add IDs to the attributes of my data format, and I can also add a description and add some tags and add an icon to this piece of data. So yeah, that's really how data works within NoCode-X. If you want to know more, please follow us more on LinkedIn. Use our Discord channel. Keep an eye on our YouTube. So yeah, we'll be making more of these videos. So see you later, guys.